Hi there, my name is Sonia. Welcome to my channel. Today I will be doing a tutorial on how I sew the signature pages onto the book cover. This is a book that I had made on the last video. The book measures 9¼ by 6¼ inches. The spine is 1¾ inches. I do want to make a correction though. On my last video, part 1, the measurements that I had given for the spine was 1¾ inches, which is correct. However, once you glue it onto the cardstock and the fabric, you need to include at least a 1/4 inch space between the spine and the front and back cover. So by doing that, that's actually going to make the spine just a little bit wider. So this spine actually measures 1 7/8 of an inch. And this cardstock is 1 5/8 of an inch. So not 1 3/4 inches. So it's going to be 1 5/8 for the cardstock. I like to then go with graph paper. This helps me just to make sure that I am even with the holes once I punch them in there. And what I like to do, again, this size of graph paper is going to be identical to the cardstock that is on the spine. 9 by 1 5/8. I'm going to go ahead and fold this in half, and then I'm going to go down about 1 3/4 inches on the top and the bottom. I do like to note that this is going to be the top. You just want to make sure that as you're punching your holes, you're going to be using this same graph paper, this template, when you sew the signature pages. So you want to make sure that everything is in the right order. Everything is right side up. So I'm going to go ahead, and this is what I like to do. I have the center right here. Now I have a total of 5 signatures. So I know I need to include 2 on each side. So there's a total of 8 little boxes here. So I'm going to go ahead and just go out like 1 1/2. So that's going to be right there on the center. And then right here. And again, I'm just going to go 1 and then that half right there. There's that half and then the 1. Hopefully that makes sense. And you will see that everything is going to be on the paper. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that on the same fold right here and this bottom one. So now that I have all the holes marked where I want to punch, I'm going to go ahead now and put it on top of the cardstock and get it as close as I can. And I'm going to get some washi tape to hold it in place. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead, and I do use a book right here when I punch the hole, because you don't want to put this on your table and damage it. So I always put a book right here. I'm just going to go ahead and start making those holes. Okay, so this is the last one here. Alrighty, so I've already punched all the holes here. Go ahead and remove this. And then I'm going to go ahead and start with the signature pages. So I know that this is going to be the top. Just going to set this aside. So now I'm going to go ahead and start punching the holes on the paper. I like to go with a variety of paper. Usually I will do 10 sheets of paper per signature. So when you do fold them in half, you are looking at 40 sheets of paper front and back per signature. So right here is going to be a total of 200 pages. What I like to add is have college rule paper, at least 3, coffee dyed paper, 8.5 by 11, cardstock, at least 2 of them, and these are 9 by 6. There's another coffee dyed paper, printed paper, 9 by 6, 8.5 by 11, printed paper, and then there's another cardstock right there. And usually I will include book pages as well, but whatever you like. I already have all of mine in the order that I want, so I'm going to go ahead and start making holes on the signature pages. what I'm going to do first, I just want to make sure that everything is squared and even. And I always like to start with a smaller paper first. I like the way you can see the different sizes. And I'm just going to get paper clips just to hold them together so they don't move when I make those holes. And I don't actually like to punch it flat. I like to keep it closed. And I'm just going to grab this paper right here, again, the graph paper, and remove the washi tape. And then I'm going to go ahead and center it. So you're just going to fold this in half. Okay, and so you're going to see your punch hole right there. I'm actually going to do it this way so I can see it. And I definitely know that this is going to be the top right here. And all I'm doing is this is going to be squared and even as well at the very end right here. And I'm just going to hold this down, push it down, and then I'm just going to start making the holes. And I'm going to go ahead and edit this because I'm sure you don't want to see me making holes on paper. So be right back. Alrighty, now that I have finished punching the holes on the signature paper, I'm just going to line it up with the holes that I had made on the book. You're going to see that everything is going to line up. So the pages are not going to be actually larger than the book. So it's going to be right in the center. And what I like to do, I like to use this thread here. This just arrived yesterday from Amazon. It's wax linen thread. Here's the thread. And I like to have enough thread. So I will measure it 3 times. We got 1, 2, so 3 times from the 9 inches. And then I like to adjust a little bit extra. And I'll just sew one, and then I'm just going to edit because, again, I'm sure you don't want to see me sew paper onto a book. And what I like to do is I always like to start with the very first holes that I made. So it's going to be on the front. I removed the paper clip. You can leave it on there. For me, I just feel it works better for me without the paper clip now that I've punched in those holes. And I always start with the middle first. And I'm just going to run it through. Then I'm going to go to the very top. And then from here, well, I don't know what happened there. Oh, okay. I'm going to run it to this one right here, the very last one. And then after I run it through here, I'm going to run it back up here on the middle one again. Alrighty. And I just like to put it under, and I'm just going to go ahead and tighten everything. I just sewed the first signature page. I'm going to go ahead now, go from the inside of the book cover, and the holes that I had made earlier, I'm just going to go ahead and open it up from the inside. It'll just make it easier as I sew the signature pages. So now that I have all the pages sewn in, I do like to run this under the thread before I tie it into a knot. And before I tie it into a knot, I just make sure that everything looks even. You can see, let me move that aside. See right there. And then from the bottom as well. I haven't tied the knot yet. And I will always make a knot right here. But I like to get my husband to help me. And he is asleep because it's in the middle of the night. So all I'm going to do now is just tie it. And the only thing that is left is to put the book corners and the tassel. But that's what I have for making my junk journal. Again, this is a blank journal. And hopefully this helps you. I know there's a lot of tutorials out there. This is what I find that works best for me. And I'm not sure if I'll be doing part 3 on the tassel and the book corners. And I'm not sure whether I want to include a pocket on the front and the back. So we'll see. But thank you again and have a blessed day. Bye-bye.